those days are behind me.
You've grown since then.
Yes.
Funny joke.
It was good, yeah.
With Mike and Joe.
I used to throw a pillow at Joe when this last drum.
Are you going to throw something else at me?
Next time.
All right. Welcome to The Shift with Mike and Joe. This is episode number 37, and we have Lee Priddy. Thanks for coming, man.
Thanks for having me.
Heck yeah, dude.
Before we get started, quick shout out to Chris Parlin for being a regular donator to the podcast. Thank you, Chris. We appreciate that, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. Huge. Thank you so much, Chris. We got a monthly subscriber donator helping us keep this thing chugging along.
Yeah, man.
And thanks to everybody else who has given us one-time donations.
So we got Lee Priddy. You just said it, and now I'm freaking out about it.
Just say like it sounds pretty.
Priddy.
Yeah.
Lee Priddy on the podcast. Lee was one of my very first guitar teachers. I have fond memories of going to Jason's Music in Severna Park or Glen. I don't know where that is.
Like Pasadena.
Yeah, Pasadena down there on Route 2. And getting lessons. My brother and a friend of ours too. We'd all go together. We'd get Wendy's on the way home. You know, lots of good memories there. Speaking of Eric Johnson, I still play Cliffs of Dover from time to time. You taught me that. I don't know if you,
cool.
You know, remember that or not. Not the whole thing, but you know, part of it. Part of it that you thought maybe I could handle. And yeah. So
how old were you then, Mike?
14-ish. I think we were just figuring out. Yeah,
okay.
something like that. Yeah.
That's so long ago.
Yeah, it's very.
Was Mike a hard kid to teach, or was he like a studious kind of guy?
He doesn't remember.
Oh no, I remember you. Yeah, I think he was very promising. Yeah, so
Promising.
I told him about a guitar.
You ever wonder
camp.
like what happened? You know?
Oh yeah, National Guitar.
Yeah, and I wrote you a letter for scholarship.
Yeah.
So that's how much I believed in you.
Thanks,
Yeah,
man.
and look at you now. Yeah. So
That was a good time, National Guitar Summer Workshop. I wish that still existed because I have a lot of students I would love to send there.
Yeah, I think Berkeley probably like stole their thunder.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, the summer camp things they do there.
You know, but there's concepts all the time, and you know, and then rock and roll fantasy and all this kind of cool stuff where you can spend a weekend with Steve Vai or something.
Yeah, that's a much different world now for sure. But so, can you tell us a little bit about your childhood? What it was like growing up, your family, your music? How did you get into music? That kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah. I guess my mom and her boyfriend. My parents split when I was about 9, but her boyfriend gave me a guitar for Christmas when I was about 9, and then I turned about 11 and I got a record player, and her boyfriend brought over some, and he'd always been playing in front of me, jamming with his friends and stuff. But then they gave me Permanent Waves, a record, and I heard Spirit of Radio, and I was like, I want to do that, you know, when I was about 11, and then I just couldn't put the guitar down.
Awesome.
You know? I got lessons with George Thomas, carpool with Brian Ewald.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Cool.
Yeah, so he was my bestie in junior high school. We're still really close. He throws me some stuff every once in a while too, which is really cool. And I think the first time I ever played in front of anybody was with Brian at Maryland Hall. No, the Maryland Inn.
Okay.
At a little jazz place, and Steph Scajari was the host. And Gary Granger was the bass player, and Greg Granger was the drummer. So I got to play with Gary Granger, Greg Granger, and Brian Ewald for my first performance. Yeah, when I was like 13 or something.
Wow.
So
What'd you guys play?
we did. I think it was Lenny from Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Okay.
And then we just did like a bluesy.
Okay. Can't go wrong with blues.
Yeah, we recorded. I was slightly out of tune. I was a little disappointed.
Yeah.
For one, but it was a really good experience, though.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think I was as nervous as I should have been, but.
So you were pretty young when you knew that you wanted to be a musician.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just kind of like the only thing that I did know, and you know, I had some good friends and stuff that were like, you know, jocks and, you know, all types of friends, you know, but some of them started making fun of me at the bus stop. They're like, go home and play stupid guitar.
Play something cool.
Yeah, so like, yeah, because I would play like, you know, 3 to 6 hours. I think by the time I was maybe like 13, I had like the chops that I have now, or maybe even faster.
I feel like I've gotten slower too. I don't know. It's weird. Yeah. It's like
but I feel like I have more concept and more creative things. But there's students that I've taught that are just like Paul Gilbert and Guthrie Govan fast.
Wow.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
What are your parents feeding you?
Yeah.
But just trying, I'm always just on my verge for tone. Oh, as far as like the journey, I later on, I also studied with Jim Cunningham. He was a military musician.
Is that the guy that fixes our guitars?
Yeah.
He's
Oh yeah, okay.
He's
yeah,
very
cool.
beastly. Very, very formidable jazz guitar player.
Is that right?
And he was what I needed.
Guy. Is that?
And then I studied with Cheryl Bailey. She teaches at Berkeley, and I think she's the head of the jazz department now. So that was for about 2 years, and so I studied with her at Arnold Community College in Towson. And then I went off to there was an established band in the Southeast, and they're like sponsored by like Budweiser or something. But the founding member passed away, so we reconfigured. It was called the Melons, and opened up for like Aaron Neville, Cool and the Gang, and
Wow.
it was kind of cool.
Wow, nice.
And then I came back, and Craig Tambasio, I was going to do a band with him, and then I kind of didn't want to do covers for a while. But he's like, hey, there's a teacher's job at near Jason's. That's where I met you. Yeah. And then just kind of, I think at one point I was doing retail too there, like selling guitars, prepping band instruments when I was working on boats too while I was building up my students.
Oh, really?
So I think I left around 2000 on my own, and worked in my basement, had a studio set up there, and then sublet from somebody else when the house was getting too small because we got 4 kids, and found a place in Pasadena and was there for a few years, and now we're at the Millersville location. We went to a Millersville location, which was like 700 square feet to 1,200 later, and now we're at a 2,400 square foot one.
That's awesome.
Really nice.
Bigger than my house.
Yeah. So I'm just really grateful for, it's been a long journey.
Yeah. So when did you kind of make the transition into, and how did you go about, like, you were the main teacher for a long time, and then decided, okay, it's time to hire some other people?
Yeah. I think the main thing, I had some experience also when I was at Jason's. They lost a piano account with Yamaha, and they were freaking out. And then they got Young Chang, which actually had better margins anyway, so they did later. But they were like, hey, Lee, we need to boost up the lessons. So I want you in charge of scheduling and things like that. So that's where I learned how to kind of like organize things and everything else. And when I was looking at what it's going to cost me to go out, I kind of calculated, what I should pay people and offset, that rent. And it was really never that much of an idea for like profit or anything. It's just so I could do my own thing and not be too stressed about, stuff coming in. And to be honest with you, one of the teachers was one of those ones that turned out to be faster than me. This kid named Ryan Thal. He was great.
One of your students became a teacher.
Gotcha. Yeah, because he had gotten older and more responsible. He was doing a good job, but and some of the students are still in the band program back from then, which is crazy.
Like running the bands that you have, is that what
Well, there's like a student in the program that he's taught, so he's an adult in one of our bands.
Okay.
So I was in confusion with that, but so there was just like a couple of teachers at that point, and then so State Farm was beneath us, and then this dentist, and then the dentist bought the building, and the builder that I was subletting from, we both kind of got kicked out. So I had to scramble and try to find somewhere. And then that was in Millersville, which was it was a better location, I think, than Pasadena, because Pasadena was just the Pasadena area, which is fine, and a little bit of Savannah Park, but like where we are right now, you know, we're just right off of 97, and, you know, it's kind of like 20 minutes within, you know, for everything.
Right, yeah.
Often
How many students do you have?
About 150.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's a dozen teachers. All four of my kids teach there, and then other teachers as well. And it's not really that much of like nepotism. It's just that they've been through the program. They know it in and out. You know, some of them have endorsements and things like that from, you know, instrument people. So they're just very serious about it. And it's just really, you know, fulfilling, you know. So there's probably, so we do, yeah, we expanded, because before, you know, when it was in that Pasadena one, the sublet was just mainly guitar. I had just started kind of doing the band thing because there was just enough room there, and people would bring a drum set, or somebody, I know a drummer, you know.
I was gonna say, is it just guitars or other instruments?
Oh yeah. The so we got voice, keyboard, or, you know, piano, bass, guitar, drums,
Yeah.
ukulele, kazoo.
Triangle.
I've been looking for. Sure.
But and like one of our voice teachers teaches for the Apex program over in Anne Arundel County Public Schools. So that's kind of like, you know, you have to audition for it, and and she helped like Perzy to get on to The Voice. She got like 8th place. Wow. Her name's Jennifer Marie, and you know, and then you know, Mac, my daughter's teaching there, and she got sponsored by NAGS when she was 21 and got endorsement offers for bass since she was 16.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah. And then my son Andrew, you know, he's been teaching drums, I think, since he was 16 too. And
Wow, he's been teaching since he was.
yeah. I've brought them gigging with me since they were 11 and 12, and it was usually just backing other people like John Van Dyke. He's kind of like a local legend. I don't know if you're familiar, but like him, Greg Phillips, David Glazer, they all kind of started the scene in the 90s, and he kind of heard us all play while his son was taking voice lessons, and asked us to play, and it kind of got us out there. And as Max, and then other people were asking to use them as a rhythm section. I was like, I want to play with my kids. You know? So
awesome.
When Max started vocals, and then we called it Mac and Blue, and now it's called Honey Soul. So there's kind of like the whole, you know, family band thing, family business, and you know, some people are interested in, you know, that aspect.
And I'm guessing it was kind of natural to them. You didn't have to like convince them to get into music. They just kind of naturally wanted to.
I threw some bread in the basement and some water, and but yeah. Well, the cool thing is, you know, the funny thing is I gotta give credit to my wife for it, because they really, I gave them real instruments, and they had seen like people that were going through my school that were, you know, exceptional and inspired, you know, when, you know, because they were, you know,
That makes a huge difference.
somewhat toddlers at the time. And I would say I gave them some instruments, and it didn't take. And then my wife bought a Rock Band. I was like, that's not playing, you know. And they did. And then every instrument that they chose, you know, each individually, they gravitated towards. And then at the time, you know, I had Anthony Satola teach Mac on bass. He's just a local legend. And Brad Kimes as well on drums for Andrew. I think, you know, my son John is doing great for piano, and we really hadn't had too much of success with piano teachers at the time. So, and it's not my expertise. So I think he's made the greatest leaps and bounds, you know, on his own. And then my youngest son Zach, he does guitar, bass, drums, keyboards, and mainly vocals. So it's just great to be able to hear music everywhere I go.
Yeah, man, I can imagine.
Yeah, a lot of times it's in construction. Being a teacher and everything.
The music is in construction.
Yeah. But seeing the growth of everybody. I'm having a little rough time with. Every year it gets a little harder. Seeing seniors go off to college and things like that.
Yeah.
That have been. Some of them I've had. For 5 years, some of them that I'll have had for 10 years, or things like that.
Right.
But they're all thriving and successful.
It's like a high school teacher.
Yeah.
That bittersweet feeling of watching your kids graduate.
Yeah, and I did that briefly too for Indian Creek. Well, it wasn't brief. That was almost 10 years. They hired me as a guitar instructor at Indian Creek Upper School. I think that was like 2005 until 2014. And actually, the first year, they were at the Crownsville Mental Institution. They renting out a building as the other one was getting constructed. Yeah,
wow.
So it was like you drive there by all the like kind of creepy stuff, and then you go off to the left, and they were like regular like updated buildings and stuff. But it's still like there's like cages around like where the kids could go outside and stuff. And like,
do you know anything about that, Mike? The Crownsville Mental Institution?
No, I mean, other than it's what
you've heard like the stories and stuff about it.
No, are there stories about it specifically?
Well, I mean, I don't know a whole lot of the details. We should just do like a little side note, just so people that might not know what we're talking about know what we're talking about. When was it shut down? Like
the 80s.
The 80s, it's quite a while ago, and it's all like run down and
they came in for like historic preservation. I guess to remember, there was some things that were not great.
Right. Yeah, there were some what's the term? Like
electroshock.
Yeah, like some unconventional things happening there, and it's kind of a creepy thing to like drive past,
And the 180 days that I taught there, I can't remember a sunny day.
Really?
Being in that building.
Cloud.
It's like yeah. But then the other campus is beautiful. It's like 120 acres that they did. Yeah, so. Ann Chambers, the founder, was there, I guess, for like the first 6 years. And then it just changed a bit, they got into more sports and things like that. And I wanted to concentrate more on my school. And it helped at the time, too, having, the extra income and knowing I could depend on it.
Were you doing individual lessons, or were you doing like a group guitar class, or what was that?
I did a group guitar classes. I did like 3 periods worth. So I'd get there at like 10ish and leave at 1.
Did you force your kids to sing in front of the class, even if they didn't want to?
Oh, well, they were my guitar students, but yeah, actually, the thing that I did,
like, I don't care if this is a guitar class, you're gonna sing.
I did have, whoever had the talent to do that for the recitals, though. I encouraged it, and then there were some people that I was aware of that was like, hey, can you sing with this person to accompany them? And it was, so my concerts were kind of like a coffee house vibe.
Oh, cool.
And a lot of people enjoyed it. And I did too. It was fun. And some people studied with me after, for private lessons, or joined, one of my bands for up the street, So it was a good time.
Have you had any students that were nervous about performing in front of people?
Yes, very, very many. I think one kid locked himself in the bathroom, and the lady was like texting me while I was on the way there. Yeah, and he did it. Yeah, so.
Oh, like he was at the venue getting ready to perform and locked himself?
No, he was at home.
Oh, he was at home. He wouldn't even leave.
I was like, oh my gosh,
This episode of The Shift with Mike and Joe is brought to you by Cult Classic Brewing.
If you're anywhere near Kent Island and you haven't been there yet, you're missing one of the most unique spots around.
Cult Classic isn't just a brewery. It's where something's always going on, literally every night of the week.
They've got craft brewed beer in-house, a full kitchen, and killer food.
But what really sets them apart is the live music.
They've got a brand new state-of-the-art concert room bringing incredible bands and shows all the time.
Plus, events happening all over the venue.
We're talking farmers markets, line dancing nights, cornhole tournaments,
one of the best open mics around, book clubs, stand-up comedy, true crime Tuesdays, Wingo.
And yeah, even micro wrestling and a muskrat eating contest.
So if you're tired of doing the same old boring thing over and over,
this is the place where you genuinely don't know what you're walking into in the best way.
You could show up on a random Tuesday
and end up catching a live show in a legit concert space.
Live music, outdoor hangs, bring your dog, grab a drink.
Stay for a show, it all just kind of happens there.
And if you've got a party or an event coming up,
this is one of those rare places where people don't just show up, they stay.
So next time you're trying to figure out what to do,
skip the usual.
Check out Cult Classic Brewing in Stevensville, Maryland.
Good beer, great food, live music.
And he's not a musician now, but I think he had the confidence, and he did great. I mean, as far as he's probably still playing. I'm hoping. Mm-hmm. He was a sports kid, and I ran into some kids that were like, I don't want to be around, say, one of the other teachers for the elective. You know what I mean? I won't say any names or anything, but so then. A lot of them didn't want to practice, but I'm like, well, if I'm going to give you a good grade, you're going to have to play in front of people. That's part of your grade too. So it was, that aspect was a little bit stressful and then there was people that took their own initiative and, just help guide, and that's, like you. Yeah. So
it's the best way to get over it, right? Just do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Push yourself.
Yeah, and there's still, times that make me nervous too, so it's just, how you present it and just try to be in the moment. I think like the times that get me the most nervous, and it's not really the biggest crowd, but like say like AM/FM, when we do like those charities and things like In the Vein of or whatever, because, Some people use like a backlog of their songs for a theme that might fit, but Mac will write one, and so you usually won't get it done until we won't get it done until like Friday or Saturday, and it won't be recorded or something for me to listen to. So I'll record on my phone or and there, and so basically all the musicians around that are going to perform are kind of outside watching, and it's a full house, and you got 2 songs, and by the time you warmed up, you're done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And just things like that. But I think that's what, helps, you be more consistent,
For sure.
Things like that. And sometimes it's not as polished as you want to be, but, it's what came out,
Yep. I've mentioned it before, but, and let me know if you relate, but like, I've never played in front of a huge crowd like that, but I'm definitely more nervous if it's like 3 people or 4 people, than if it's like 150 or something like that. To me, it's like, I don't know.
It's more intimate.
The more intimate it is, that like everyone's like locked on you or, listening or
no distractions.
There's no distractions. If I screw up, they're going to hear it, it's probably.
Yeah. That's why I don't do solo work.
That's probably why I avoided it for so long.
I can hide behind my guitar and then with others, but.
Do you sing at all?
I can sing up to like an F sharp, so I can like do a little bit of like Steve Miller and some other things. And I took some lead vocal for some bands, but I prefer not to.
Okay.
I can harmonize. I'll cover for some of the band kids. Like if someone has show to play drums, I'll play drums, or sometimes I'll sing, and people will be surprised. And then if it's like Led Zeppelin or something, you're playing with the track today, or I'll grab my son and he's like, hey, go in there, sing that song for me.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff do you listen to? Like, what do you draw inspiration from for your own music?
Oh, for me, I think like fusion, is really, like Allan Holdsworth. I would say Guthrie Govan, like probably one of the more modern players. Sean Lane, but I started with like that Rush and everything.
I remember Santana was a big one for you too.
Yeah, I always go back to him and Stevie Ray Vaughan for like feel and genuineness. So I'm just kind of all over the place, and I think our set list is like that too, because ADHD or something, I guess. And playing one style, for 4 hours is, just kind of, I don't know. It can get kind of long.
Yeah, it can get stale.
Yeah.
For sure. I don't think I know any of those first like 4 players you mentioned.
They're kind of like
for sure I know them.
like Steve Vai's God is probably Allan Holdsworth.
Okay.
Or, so it's like guitar players.
Yeah. I've heard that name, but I'm sure. Yeah. Steve Vai I've definitely heard before.
And then there's like John Scofield too.
Oh yeah, I know him.
Mike Stern. So just kind of that fusion realm. The complexity of jazz, I did go through, jazz band and, music theory and everything.
You ever hear of a band called Liquid Tension Experiment?
I think so. Isn't that John Petrucci?
Yeah.
Is that who that is? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember discovering them like 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. This is incredible.
Yeah.
Isaac loved
it. Was wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, like real, like, because they were like kind of fusion, but also like metal too, right? Like heavy.
Yeah, instrumental. It was like Dream Theater instrumental.
It was all instrumental.
Yeah.
Kind of jammy too, a little bit.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome.
Yeah. All right. Anyway.
So stuff. Yeah. I think he's influenced a lot. I hear like a lot of Joe Satriani in him. So I listen to him too. So I think that's what kind of helps you. You're just basically an amalgamation of all your influences. So I think trying to sound unique with your tones and ideas and things like that help and some people I guess might look at me as a technician, some like tone or feel, or which was really weird. Like I think like the past weekend, not this weekend, but the other one before that, like 3 people like came up and took a picture of my pedal board. I was like, oh, you want some of the secret sauce?
Yeah, right.
But
I love looking at pedal boards.
Yeah.
Those guys.
Yeah, and I went through a lot of like revamping and like rerouting with it and everything. Well, this has got to go before this.
Oh yeah.
So even though they're next to each other, that's just like for convenience.
You gotta mess with it.
Yeah. But and they just made it more consistent. Even though I love like my Mesa Boogie amp, but a lot of places, like if you're doing festivals, they will like want you to use the house amp or whatever, and 9 times out of 10 it's gonna be like a Hot Rod Deluxe. So I just I just get a pedal board and get used to that, because I was never happy bringing my pedal board out. So I was like, I'm just gonna make like a consistent find pedals I like and just have a consistent tone like everywhere I go. And that helped me out.
Are you using mostly analog pedals, or do you have like modeling stuff on there?
I'm still an analog guy.
Yeah.
I like pushing air. So I like the convenience of and it intrigues me of the helix and everything. But I like tube amps, and I think a couple of my pedals are digital just for like cleanness, like probably like my delay. But mostly. Yeah, I just try to keep it organic, and I try to have like a vintage tone with like a modern approach, I guess is what I try to do. So
that one video I watched before we started the show today, you were playing a pretty sweet PRS.
Oh yeah.
Is that what you play most of the time?
Yes. PRS. I got about 4 core, and also they've helped my Music Academy. We did a video to help release, I think, the CE24 SE, and they gave us 3 of them, the 3 that we used in the video. So
cool.
They videoed me and 2 of my students. And
was it Andrew Dorbin that came in videoed you?
I don't think so.
We had him on the show recently. He's a videographer over there.
Yeah, they had a crew of like 3 or 4 people, and they brought it to my school, which was really cool.
That's cool, yeah.
And we had they also gave me an acoustic guitar, I think, for people to try, and some other things, or they'll like help me backline an event. If it's not like PRS, I've been using Sir Fenders and things like that. It's really just like a matter of need and feel, but the PRS pretty much covers everything. I have like a 509, a Modern Eagle 5, and a hollow body and my custom's kind of like my old reliable. It's a custom 24, like a 1996, and they pimped it out for me too, which is neat.
That's awesome, man.
So you know, it's not really like a sponsorship or anything, but you know, I'll take what I can get.
Your collaboration kind of thing.
Yeah. And you know, like I think my last one was I got industry costs for one, which was really like sweet. It was like my dream guitar. So
Oh, nice.
that Modern Eagle 5.
Yeah, I mean, it makes
Been good
sense
to
for
me.
them as a local, I mean, worldwide, local to us, guitar manufacturer to work with,
Yeah, right down the
you
street.
know, bands or music schools that are nearby. I mean, you know, you said they gave you some guitars and they did the video. I mean, you know, that's all good marketing, right?
Yeah.
You know, for them and helpful for you too.
Yeah, it was neat. I'd like people to see like the kids that were in the video, like how much they've grown since then too. I mean, they were killer then, but now like one of them's going off. Well, he got a scholarship to USC, Berkeley, and I think University of Miami. He chose USC though. So, and the other kid, he's got hopefully another 2 years with me before he does, and he's definitely, you know, if he gets, you know, serious enough and wants to do it, I mean, there's more than enough talent, you know. So the first one was James, and the next one was Lucas. So
I've always thought USC was just a little bit better school than Berkeley.
yeah, well, I think he wanted.
It's just something about it. It's just a little bit better.
I think he wanted the college experience. You know.
Mike went to Berkeley as a
Okay. Oh yeah.
Always got to poke it. Yeah. So if I was to come, to your school, I have my kid, and I say, I want to do. He wants to play guitar. What are the options? Do you do just guitar lessons, or is the band thing part of the whole?
Oh yeah. So you know, we don't force the band program on anybody. Although some people, I'm like, oh, you're so good, but it's that fear thing.
Yeah.
To talk about, you know. But I can go into that later. But I would say, you know, if he's a beginner, then really we look at where they, you know, some might not know, you know, depending on how old they are, because, you know, it's music that's played in the car. It's not their own taste or whatever. So you kind of have to be a little generic at that point and do fundamentals, but, or things that would be good that you can see. But I would say, you know, do they want to play acoustic? Do they want to do electric? You know, and some people, I think, conceivably think that electric's, you know, more advanced. It's going to be harder to learn, you know, but I think, you know, if you got a smaller kid and the strings are thinner, the neck is thinner, the body's more ergonomic, you know, the drawbacks, you got to buy an amp, you know, but there's headphones too, you know, so some people, you know, noise might be an issue, but, you know, I just, you know, I don't think people should hate on it, you know.
I'm 100% with you on that. Yeah. I tend to push like kids towards electric guitar for that reason, because I've noticed they have more success initially. You know, and
especially if they want that. I mean, but if they want to be, you know, Ed Sheeran, then
right.
You know,
it depends on what their interests are, I guess.
But if they're just a blank slate and they're just like, I want to play guitar, and they don't care.
I know when I was a kid, if I wanted, like, if I were to go take guitar lessons and they gave me the choice, I'd be like, yeah, I'm definitely playing electric. Like, especially if the teacher was, you know, pushing me in that direction.
But there's this kind of old wisdom of like, you got to start on an acoustic.
Yeah.
I've always heard
I'm
that.
a product of electric first. You know, so it was under my bed. It was not an easy one to play though. It was like an airline, like probably from like 1950s or maybe 60s or something. The strings were like this high off the fretboard. And
might as well have had an acoustic.
yeah, and then when they saw that I was, you know, playing it, you know, my mom, she upgraded me to like a Area Pro, I think. And that was a really nice guitar too. It was like Japanese build and just like a Strat copy. And then I don't think I got my own acoustic till I was like 17. You know, and really that was to like work on my chops, you know. So, you know, because the strings were heavier, and I was getting into Al Di Meola. He was doing acoustic stuff. So, you know, and it's kind of like the mentality I had with that was like kind of like training, running on the beach, and then being able to run on whatever you need to faster, you know. But, you know, and I can do. You know, I think like the main guitar, my favorite ones. I have a Martin. I think it sounds great acoustically. It's fun. It's a little bit like harder to play, so I really think like Taylor's like the most well balanced thing to do live or whatever. If we have to do an acoustic set or something somewhere, but I'm not really that much of a like kumbaya guitar player, But I enjoy guitar anyway.
You're more of a rip it up kind of guitar player.
Yeah, I think like is like.
That's the impression I got with it. Just a quick video I watched. I was like, holy shit, look at that.
Like more like a hired hand,
Yeah.
For that, or but I'll do it. Like especially like I think we did a couple of the Songbird things for Mac at like 49 West and things like that. Do an acoustic set. I wish I got like really good at looping, but I just don't have like the time for that. So that would be interesting.
It takes a lot of practice for sure.
Yeah, so Brian Ewald I think is like great at that. Dana B, these guys just.
Charlie Cavusi was really good at it. I saw him playing live at Kentmore. That's actually when I met him.
He's good at everything.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but he was doing some really cool looping stuff, and it wasn't like cliche, looping that you do see a lot of people do. It was much more. I don't know what the word is, but like. It was almost like you didn't even realize he was looping. You know what I mean? But it sounded great.
You weren't waiting around for
yeah. It didn't just sound like
6 minutes for the song to start.
Over and over loop. It was like really precise, planned out, structured kind of stuff.
Yeah,
which was awesome to watch and listen to.
Yeah, and he was on your podcast too.
Yeah, cool. Shortly thereafter. Yeah. He's a nice guy, man. I met him there at Kentmore. I was actually filming a promotional video for them that night, and I was supposed to be playing.
No,
Mike was supposed to be playing.
Yeah, and
why didn't you play that night?
I can't remember. I had to go out of town or something.
Yeah. And then he was playing. So yeah, of course I was like, filming everybody hanging out and stuff, but then I kept like finding myself gravitating over and like getting footage of him because he just sounded awesome. And then I ended up chatting with him, but and then he came on the show shortly thereafter. But yeah, really good dude.
Yeah, I saw him yesterday. Actually, I did. We do this charity event called Burgers and Bands to prevent suicide, and we had like Grilled Lincolns, Kelly Bell Band.
Grilled Lincolns.
Yeah, my band played with Honey Soul. That's my daughter's band, but and then there's killer acts on the main stage all day, and then we had like my Priddy Music Academy stage to the right. So they do 20 minutes and 40-minute main stage, and then we had acoustics in the inside. So it was just music everywhere. Okay. And he was filming the Grilled Lincolns, and then I asked him to film us while he was there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, super nice guy.
We I went to college with those guys, and I met them down in Salisbury, and we just had their original drummer on here recently, who goes by Egg. Chef Egg. Well, I knew him as Egg. He wasn't Chef Egg when I knew him. He was just Egg. But yeah, now he's Chef Egg. And then he was like their original drummer, and then he ended up doing other stuff. But man, they were so much fun in college. When I first went to college down in Salisbury, I moved into this house, and they were practicing, like they would rehearse in the basement. So we would get to just go down there and hang out and like watch Riddy just rip it up on guitar.
Yeah, very high energy.
Amazed. Yeah, it was so cool. Yeah. Love those guys.
So have you noticed as a teacher, have you noticed a difference in students as like the internet has sort of like in attention spans, ability?
Yeah, there's a few things I've noticed. I think it's like YouTube and things can be resourceful for like concepts and things like that. But when, especially in early playing, there's no, like the teacher can see you as far as like technique and things like that. So a lot of people will like hold their thumb like under the neck like this, or hold the pick like this, and and then it just things that. So, I really think, if you're going to go from the beginning and then see how I like it. You're going to have all these bad habits, where I think you should be with a reputable instructor first that's going to show you the right foundation to build off of, and then go to that if like you can't afford lessons anymore or whatever, because it takes a long time to, and even some weren't with the internet, like this one girl, she's about 7, she came to me, and it took me, I want to say like maybe 8 months to turn her technique around. But when we got done, she was doing like note for note, like Led Zeppelin songs and Waylon singing too. It was a band called Z Band.
Okay.
So like people would just like flock because they hear like this little kid voice, and then all these other, like Brian Ewald's kid was in it too. Julian Ewald, playing drums. But yeah, I think, and I kind of know the teacher, so I was kind of like, really, you know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
That she had been studying that long, so I think, proper technique is kind of king for that. If there's any type of like seriousness that's gonna, go later, I think there might be some things that I could probably do more efficiently myself, but luckily, I haven't had like carpal tunnel or anything like that, there's lots of hours of playing. So I think that's what's kind of helped me, and it's just kind of felt natural to me. But I try to remember, like, or I'll see things like too, like later on, like more advanced concepts, like if you're like picking this string and your finger, and you have your finger on this string, the other finger's covering the other strings to mute it, over, things like that. And it doesn't like come so naturally to some people, so you have to think in terms of like,
what am I doing in order to portray that to someone else?
Yeah.
I've done that a lot with me.
And, and people learn differently, and I've taught, so many people. So it's really helped me find different approaches, for everything else. But yeah, I think, with the internet too, you can, it's cool to have backing tracks and things like that, so there's I do think, not just on that instrument as well, but, you look at drummers too, and they'll have like a 30-second fill reel, and then they think they can do that all night. It's like,
Right.
You got a 4-hour gig, dude. And it's like, if you're overplaying, it's like, who's the rhythm drummer?
Yeah.
So there's, do you want to be asked back, type aspect, so that concept of, being in the real world, and getting views. I mean, sometimes they can go like this, for musicianship, like as a whole. And in general, I think that's usually somebody that's like succeeded in the real realm and then kind of was like tech savvy and things like that. But if you come from that internet world and then the hard reality of locking in, is different,
Yeah.
So you guys are like teaching all the way from beginners all the way through like what it's like to gig and other tips and tricks and, like you said, aspects of the real world playing music. Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, when like we do festivals and things like that for my music school, people think they're just like regular professional musicians as far as like putting the pedal board down, going through sound check, waiting for their turn, clearing the stage before they try to like break down anything, for the next act and things like that. And people, and then they're, everybody's just like really polite too, so, I think it's just been, I'm just proud to have them up, anywhere, for a function. For me too, like I've teched a lot myself too, to help them, so like most of the showcases and everything, if they don't have a house sound man, I'll run it and, and have them help me set up and help me tear down. And, so a lot of like, actually, one parent was telling me yesterday, that their kid, there's has worked with talented musicians in New York and things that at their school, but when they're putting on shows, they have like no idea what to do, and the kid just knows, from being through my program.
Yeah.
So
Right. And like you guys were talking about, you're not going to learn a lot of that stuff from YouTube. Sitting there watching a YouTuber show you how to play a particular song,
Or just one-on-one lessons.
yeah, right.
You're not going to learn that.
yeah.
So do you, for your bands, do you have, I'm assuming you have different levels of bands. Is that fair to say? Do you have like...
I try to group them. It ends up that way. I mean, you don't want like someone that's been playing for 6 months with somebody that's been playing for 7 years. You know? So, and at the same time, it's even gotten to the point to where it's like almost like a level of seriousness. If like someone's the sports a lot, they're going to miss a lot of gigs. So, so people that would understand that in theirs, and then when we get them up, I offer a lot of opportunities. So when we get up, the magic happens, But I do have like kind of my my ringers, So like if we're doing events and it's public, I kind of have my go-tos to go through first, and then and the other ones, just like who I would consider, sevens or moderate, and they're growing to do that. I think they're comparable to the best of what I've seen for other schools, and still growing. So with the showcases, I kind of it's like everybody can do type of thing, and then there's something I need my black belts for.
Right. Is it the kind of thing where you make the team kind of deal? You make the band? Is it you picking?
Yeah, I got to strategize. Who's going to work well together. It just and there's stylistic. Like people if they want to do. There's a funk band. I've had country bands. I have an acoustic band. So middle school band, I'll try to like keep them, kind of the same age-ish, unless somebody's like really kind of like pulling away and they got to put them up into the next tier,
Right.
Have that, and then sometimes every once in a while I have some, there's kind of like people that I don't want to sound like conceited or anything, but like everybody deserves a trophy, type. And I think that to an extent that's good, but at the same point, the ones that are doing the initiative, I'm not going to bench them.
Yeah, for sure.
So every once in a while I'll get like something, my kid should be doing the show or whatever. I was like, well, there's a reason I haven't called you yet, So
sounds a lot like travel sports in a way.
yeah. I think that is the approach too. Like some people come from another school and they'll think that's rec team, and we're kind of like the travel. But the other thing too is you don't have to be like advanced to come to us. Because like I said, you can start with like
you have all different levels.
Yeah, you could start with the good fundamentals. With us. Which is actually easier. Because we don't have to change anything or change grips with the drummer or there's just so many things. It's just where we don't have that type of marketing. I'm not that savvy. I just try to do the best music possible and keep everybody involved and everybody having fun, and So, but it's kind of cool too with the band program. The kids. If it's a new band, and sometimes I'll place like there'll be a position, and hopefully I'll have like a couple of months or whatever to get a new guitar player in there, and it'll already be named or whatever. But it's always fun with new bands. They like pick their name and picking songs, and it's more diplomatic too as far as song selection. But there's some that I just kind of go, you're not quite ready for that song yet, or things like that, or like how about this one? It might be from the same band or the same vibe as the other song. And we really try to stay true to like the styles. Like there's this band Dagger. They're like from the 80s. They do like 80s metal. And there's just like so much energy everywhere they play. And sometimes I get scared because the stage volume is just outrageous, but that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
you know what
right.
I mean?
That kind of music.
In a way, but and the drummer's gotten better about playing to a room. So
Well, that's another thing that you learn from experience, right? Is
he goes like, man, I'm just getting cymbal wash in the mix, So, but I had them up yesterday, and just like I think that was probably one of the bigger crowds that I'd seen even on the main stage. So just their energy and everything, and I think like being able to thrive like that is like a good thing to make good memories. And
yeah, it's awesome, man. I mean, it's definitely like part of it. It relates to growing up, know. And
do you designate a band leader in each band, or does that work itself out? Or
not so much. I mean, I kind of officially am, or Mac. We both run the bands. My daughter, and I do go with like the singer as far as like set lists and the voice teacher, to make sure that they're warmed up properly or where we want to start, and things like that. And then some assume it, and so it depends on like how long the band's been together, really, But I don't assign any. I try to get some like a momager or a dadager in the group chat to like get back to me about shows and things like that, to make sure everybody says whether they're available or not.
Okay.
And things like that. But as far as everybody's got a suggestion. As far as songs, I try to make sure everybody has an opinion with it, and it's it's going to be fun. But I strive for it, but if you find it's a song that like, 5-piece and everybody's down with it, that's pretty good, but if 3 out of 5 is like the limit, if it's, 2-on-2 or 50, if 50% of the band doesn't want to do it, it's not going to turn out good.
Yeah.
It's not, they're not going to be in. And I try to tell people that, hey, this person wants to do this song, and then if you don't want to do it, the next time your song comes around, they don't want to do it,
Yeah, try to play nice, kind of.
Yeah, and that's even worked, in like I have a trio too. I work with like Craig Tempasio and Mark St. Pierre on drums, and even then, it was like just called it the Lee Priddy trio, and it's kind of like to get reciprocal, just like the name out, because Priddy Music Academy and things like that, and it was a lot. It's been a lot of fun too. We just get together, whenever we can, but I kind of envisioned it as like funk R&B, some guitar centric stuff, and then just Craig was like really good with the 90s and everything, so we were doing some grunge and some other 90s songs, and just became really eclectic and fun, and I learned a lot from that experience too.
Yeah.
So because it's about like what he's going to sound good doing, and
Yeah.
And he's brilliant, amazing bass player, great singer, so I've been really like lucky to be able to play with some people that I have,
Yeah. Now, do you have adults that come to you for lessons as well?
Yeah. There's a couple of adult drummers recently too, and one of them made a comment to me. He's like, "Yeah, I don't like sucking at something." I was like, "Well, it's hours, not years, and you'll get it, if you do the right things." So it's just like, I think everybody wants instantaneous results, and and there's some people that they do have aptitude, but in general, it's not going to be you grab a pair of sticks and you're going to be Neil Peart or something,
Even though drums look so easy, like you watch somebody playing drums and you're like, I could do that. Then you sit down and you're like, what was he doing?
Yeah. There's, I think that's part of it too. Like, well, you're multi-talented, so, but like, if somebody can't make it, I'll do drums or bass or sing or keyboards or guitar or whatever, and it gives you like a perspective of what each instrument should be doing and how it relates. So I think that's how the bands are stronger, or they get stronger too. But the adults, we got beginners. I've got some adults that are in the program that are doing, that are pro musicians too, that find value in it still, which amazes me. But it might be, I should probably ask them, but I think it might be like stylistic interests, like, hey, my cover band's not doing like these type of songs, or just spend company with the people that are in the room with them, because it's just a really good vibe. Everybody's just having fun, picking songs.
So the adults are in the bands as well.
Yeah, we have probably 5 adult bands. There's 22 bands.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So I guess 3 or 4 of them are getting ready for like their first performance. Yeah. So, it's always in construction, and then I got some that are inevitably, times change and they're going to have to fold because 2 of them are going to college, things like that. But, they're greater musicians for it,
Sure.
and I've done my job. And, some of the bands have stayed together for like 6 years,
Very cool.
Yeah, so, I mean, like, some of the bands have stayed together longer than, some places have been in business or been able to hold a teacher, much less, hold a student that long,
Will the bands play, do you have any of the bands that once maybe somebody's graduated or moves on for whatever reason, like do the bands ever stay together outside of the academy?
Sometimes, and sometimes they'll form their own. There's a band called D.O.M.N., and that's got the Berkeley kid, and then the other kid got a Berkeley scholarship too on drums. My son taught him. And then Alex on bass, he got all-county contemporary senior band, and he's only a sophomore. So he studies with Mac, and the guitar player sings, and they did originals and did their own album, and I helped them because they remember where they come from, try to help them find gigs and things like that. And I think they're going to stay together, through school and get together when they can. But and then there's some bands that come to me ready-made, like a consultation type thing, and they just stayed in the program. It's Savage in Nature. They've been gigging around here a lot. They've been getting, pretty much like what regular musicians get paid, and they do 3-4 hour gigs, and they still do my program, and it's a lot of fun.
So they come to you as a band and they say, will you help us become a better band? Is that kind of what you mean? Okay.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. I think we changed the bass player though, and the bass player, he was good. Just stylistically, he wanted to go more to funk, and I found somebody there that was within the program and asked if he wanted to do a second band.
Okay.
It's with them. So it depends on, times change, if people just get so busy. That's the one thing. Have you ever noticed that as far as like just, there was a few busy kids that had like 5 or 6 things going on, but not just about every single one, and scheduling is like, if you're trying to do something,
every night of the week, something's going on.
Yeah. Karate, gymnastics, swimming, other instrument, acting, and it'll be that same kid, And then there's some that have thrived, that have been able to do that, but sometimes, with that focus, you kind of know who's like devoted, to the craft. So that's always a plus,
Yeah, for sure.
How often does that happen? And where that's an interesting concept, having like a pre-made band come to the music school and, hey, can you help us just make us a better band?
I would say just a few, maybe a handful, like one, I think they couldn't even finish like Don't Fear the Reaper, and they've been practicing in the garage for like months, and I got them to do it in a half an hour, so it's just trying to listen and pinpoint and what's going on with the arrangement.
You're almost like a producer at that point, or a band manager, I guess,
A glorified, I guess when you think of it, yeah. It
But then you mentioned that you also had a band come where there was you identified that like that particular bass player might not have been the best fit, and then you kind of pulled from your own resources. Is that did I hear you say that right?
To an extent, he left.
Oh, he left. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but he actually filled in for another band last night too. So I'm still on like good terms with him, and he wants to do.
It wasn't like
band.
You kicked him out.
No. There was one actually. That same band came, and actually they were from another school. That band, so they weren't happy, So, but then another kid he came in as well, but he really wasn't part of it. And we tried for a couple of months, and he just didn't have the same like work ethic. I think. Mm-hmm. I think he wanted to, but it was like kind of too late because he had to practice like extra hard like this, and they were already going like this, and he was kind of like this. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like he's going on this trajectory, and they were already mm-hmm. there, and the parent really wasn't. They were adamant about. That band in particular, even though I had some other options, I was like, hey, this kid can hang with these kids, they can grow, they can have fun, and it seemed like he wanted to do it. Mm-hmm. But at that point, and I was accused of like kicking him out of the school, and it was just fairly dramatic, so
sure
you deal with some stuff
from time to time.
But as a whole, the kids are happier now, and I wish the other kid his best, and I had no, I still want to work with him, if he wanted to come, but but there's only so much you can do, and I think I also learned that as far as like, I read in a teaching book that it's easier to keep a student than get a new one, and I don't think that is to an extent.
Mm-hmm. Like see that with a lot of business, different types of businesses.
Yeah, I think if you're spending that much time and energy, sometimes you just have to move on to the people that are going to be happy that with the way that you run things, and that's kind of like the only thing that I know, or the only way, and I try to morph to an extent, but if it just doesn't seem feasible, there's only so much you can do.
You can't change your whole program around for one person.
Yeah, and ultimately, if I kept him in, then I think that band would have broke up. And that was like almost 3 years ago, and they're still with me.
Man, you must have a lot of dealing with teenagers
and parents
and all that many. Like there must be drama all the time, I would imagine.
Occasionally, yeah. But the cool thing is. There's like really a sense of community with where we are, not just where we are, but it came from like that building to the next. I was like kind of when I moved, I was like, oh, lots of magic happened in these rooms, and mm-hmm. it moved. I think it was The main thing is when you get references, then I think 9 times out of 10 they're gonna. Be of the same mindset as your other students and parents, and because they're seeing something that they want out of what you have mm-hmm. To offer. So for the most part, the parents are just like super loyal, super supportive with their kids, and even to the private lessons too. If they don't step in the band program, I try to make it my point to know everybody, and get because it's familiar faces. I think that's the part. I think the corporate thing is. I think people are looking for something real, and I think we have that. My wife's there with like candy and stuff, and everybody looks forward to having their favorite types of candy. She like memorized like each kid's. Oh, I saved this for you. Of course, I have diabetes, so I'm looking at that thing like, oh.
How involved are you in like the what people are teaching, and how, like, are you sitting in on lessons occasionally and kind of overseeing the teachers a little bit, or you have people that you trust enough?
I've been lucky enough to have people that I trust enough that are, some of them are in the industry through the public school too. So I know their like background checked, especially, and we have windows so I can see what's going on in there. And there's a lot of people that are in the band program that are getting the private lessons. So even if it's not that one student, I know how they're handling the other students when I say like, hey, we're working on this song, can you help them with this? Or just send them a text message or whatever in the band room. And things like that. So I'm really confident, in the results. I mean, even we had a recent hire, and it's been a godsend. Is Alexis Baldwin. I think she was in the program around 2018 in a band called the Ramonas. It was an all-girls band. And then she went off to Delaware for school and graduated in music. And we were in contact. And I had another voice teacher that was just getting too busy. And it was perfect timing. And she's doing really well. And she plays all the instruments too. So she subs for the bands, for me or Mac as well when she has time. But her schedule just like packed up like that. Like the kids love her, and just great results. So there are hires from there's another guitar teacher, Ashley, that was in the program, went to Full Sail University, still a killer guitar player and everything, and I knew everything would come out right. And they've held lessons with students for a long time. George Cowan, he recently had a baby, and finding time, childcare and all that kind of stuff, we were able to maintain like a Saturday for him. And I taught him when he was 13 at Jason's too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And he went to UMBC for music composition.
Oh, George. I think I know.
Yeah, he plays with Bond and Bentley.
Okay. I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So he's got like this killer disposition too, and he kind of gets what you need to out of them as far as like performance for the students and things like that, like, and make sure that they know the importance of like, being a team player and things like that,
So each band has a teacher involved that's not necessarily you.
Right. Yeah. Because
or Mac.
Yeah. It depends on the instrument and time and availability, and specialty, especially for voice. I've taken class voice and classical, in school and everything, but it's not my wheelhouse,
right,
to go through. Especially like, I think it's such a crucial instrument as far as like physiologically, making sure that you don't hurt yourself. You only got one voice, and it's with my technique, not getting carpal tunnel, so that's with nodes and stuff, so so I really try to make sure that everybody has proper training, and there's some kids that have been through the program that they could be for greater musicianship in the future, but for what we're doing, it's okay to do it as long as I see that they're learning the parts right and things. And I can correct stuff in the band room. I mean, there's teaching involved,
Yeah.
So if they're doing a part wrong or things like that, so that's part of it.
How much rehearsal? Like, do you schedule out rehearsal time for each band? Do they get like an hour a week, 2 hours a week?
Just 1 hour a week.
1 hour.
So it's a lot of people will have left the house band from a 2-hour rehearsal, and like, are you sure you can get? Wow, how they sound like this in an hour, But like I said, I got the kid group to do "Don't Fear a Reaper" in half an hour, and without even like Will Ferrell coming in and doing the cowbell, So, but
it's like, what is Will Ferrell doing there? He does do a good cowbell.
Yeah. Actually, he plays drums too. I saw him with a drum off with
Chad Smith.
Yeah. That's cool.
Oh yeah. I just saw some reel. It must be recent because they both look old.
Yeah.
It was like a SNL thing, and it's Chad Smith, and then Will Ferrell comes out, and it's like he took over. I'm me. The whole thing that they normally do.
Because they look exactly alike.
They look very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what is your daily involvement? Are you teaching private lessons still, or are you?
Yeah. Okay. So I do private lessons probably 3:30 to like 5, and that's when the band rooms get cranking. Because most parents, sometimes we can get a band at 4 if we're lucky, as far as like parents working and work till 5. It's kind of hard. So that's kind of like the prime time for there. And then sometimes if there's a student with, like James, like, an advanced one or whatever, like I think I did like 6 o'clock for him, but, and I still do some beginners too. And then the bands are like 5 to 9 on Thursday, and both band rooms are cranking for the most part. We gig a lot on Fridays and Saturdays, and I put on events on Saturdays and Sundays. So in festival season, there's like not much time for a day off. Like today, like I think Friday we played at Cat's Pub till got home like 3:30 in the morning because it's all the way up in Fells Point on the Eastern Shore, and then we played DC United for a stadium, at the Audi Stadium for like a pregame party, and that was kind of like, even though that was a 6 o'clock hit, we had to get there at like 3 for the gate and all that stuff, and set up and then find parking, and then got back. So I kind of had to get up earlier than I wanted to, and then the Burgers and Bands for Suicide Prevention was Sunday. I think I left the house at like 8, and I got home at around 10:30, I think, because it was 11 o'clock music until 9.
Wow.
I was really lucky because we had Boomer help me out on sound with that, and 2 other techs. My mixer went out on me, and so he brought his own, and I have like an Allen and Heath 16 to 18 channel, and Kelly Bell takes like all 32. So
yeah.
But it was a great event, and then had to hang out with you guys.
Cool. Yeah. So, are you full? Are you able to schedule? Are you? I'm trying to think how to
So can he come back?
Can I come?
Is there enough room?
No. Well, I mean, maybe, but it sounds like are you at capacity at your current location, or are you? Is there some wiggle room?
Yeah. We could stand to book a lot more private students, and probably. I mean, I've had as many as 27 bands. It was pretty crazy then, but we're really comfortable with kind of under 25-ish. But if I had like another teacher that for bands, then I probably could with that room, with both rooms. I think if you really, we could probably do at least 300. If we could get that to that point, I'd be really super happy. And I'm happy now. Rent goes up every year. Power, everything else. So just trying to make sure that we stay ahead of that. And we also do like Warrior Music Foundation. So they do music therapy So we give them a free day on Fridays because it's usually a little more chill there because there's
You guys are out
PTSD.
gigging then.
Yeah, and it works out nice, and then we fundraise for it, and veterans get like free lessons, and so we're going to do, I think that in September, we're going to do a fundraiser for that as well. So there's probably like, I guess like 5 to 10 music therapy at any given time, plus lessons, and then some online too, because they'll be like out of state and things like that.
So is during the day, you were mentioning like times, like most people can't get there till. Do you have things going on during the day?
I'd like to. I think like
Mornings and.
I would probably say there's, I could tap more into like homeschooling, families and things like that, but also we have that big room. So I think the next approach would probably be like toddlers and get them experience with like rhythm and things, because I think that's like the hardest thing to teach if somebody doesn't have good timing. It's like if they're like ahead of the beat and they just keep going, or or behind, or even when the singer's off time and you got like a really solid drummer, it can kind of like pull you. You know what I mean? So if you so I think for me, percussion is like immediate gratification, stuff like that, and singing and things. So we're working on that program. I think it's going to take a while though. But
so are you heading up like most of the business end of everything? Do you have I'm asking this because it sounds like you're in a lot of different avenues. You got a lot more than you would think at like a music school. Hey, I've got kids coming in and I teach them music, but you're doing lots of other things.
Yeah. My wife handles a lot of the business, the timesheets, everything else, and keep me organized, which is that's a hard job.
Yeah,
for me. Yeah, I drive her nuts, but
you're talking
luckily
about
she loves me.
Fundraisers and managing 25 bands on top of like individual students, and coordinating rehearsral times, and I mean that's and gigs, and that's a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah. I'm grateful for it, and I've tried to make sure that I think like recently, I've tried to make sure that the things that the events and gigs that we go for are ones that are good experiences,
Right.
Because we've had some other ones, I've had some where the kids are like, do we have to go back there? I'm like, oh, and same with, with our band, so, but I've been, it's all been growing, and I think the hard work is paying off, but, and I've been trying to say no more, but I think like May, I looked at the schedule like in February, and I've been kind of like dreading it. It's like 18 events, and like some are like, and then in
February.
No, back from February. Like I've been looking at, I was like, oh, I kind of overbooked it, and then I took like a couple more things, but they're a good. Like I think like we just booked a Asian American festival for Honey Soul like on May 31st. So, I'm half Korean. My kids are Asian. It's gonna be a fun day. You know what I mean?
What did you say?
Asian. Yeah, white Asian. Yeah. So there's things you make time for, even I guess there's, I did a post, because there's even like a kid that, like from the Make-A-Wish Foundation that I've been teaching guitar with on my own time when he's feeling up to it. You know what I mean? So I knew I was busy. But I'm glad I did. He's going through hospice care right now. So, so I kind of like opened myself up to that. but I'm glad I did. And,
Yeah.
you know, so it's just like, as far as like, you know, getting older now, you know, just trying to make sure that things are, you know, worth the time spent, you know, so, you know, allocating that. But I would say, you know, just keeping busy. I think I've been trying to get a lot more help lately too, you know, as far as like if we do like East Puerto Rican, I'll run sound from, we'll get there like 8, 9 in the morning, and I'll bring like, you know, 2 subs, 2 mains, 4 or 5 monitors, full backline, you know, drum set, bass amp, two guitars, and run sound all day, and then like jump off and play with Honey Soul, and then come back, you know, and then load out.
It's a long day.
So I got a couple of those going on in June, and you know, so, you know, it's out in the heat and things like that. So I just got to take care of myself. So I'm getting, you know, a lot more people to help me. You know, you know, so even though, so I just trying to be helpful. You know, it's a part of that. So I think I've been doing that for, it's going to be almost 10 years now. You know, so so I run the, I guess it's called the sales stage. Yeah, once it was like the J stage, but then sponsorships changed or something like that, and they moved it.
That festival's been going on for a while, right?
I think like 40 years or something.
40?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't even know. I wouldn't think it was that long, but I knew it was a while.
Yeah.
That is a while.
Yeah.
Do you have trailers and vehicles dedicated to your business, or how do you get all this stuff here?
I did before. Yeah, I had this white van. It kind of broke down, so I've been using my Suburban, you know, and then if it's like the big PA, I'll have other people meet me with, you know, the subs and everything else. So, but yeah, the white van, I used to tell people I give candy out in it. But yeah, it was like a 15 passenger. And we took out like the last 2 rows, and I could fit pretty much everything in, you know, plus my kids.
Okay.
But it got like 9 to 11 gallons.
Yeah.
9 to 11 miles a gallon.
Especially when it's all loaded up.
Yeah. And then we did like, I think we just couldn't find what was wrong with it, and it left me stranded too much, you know, even though I had it fixed like for the same problem like 3 times. Like I was like, no, it's not worth it.
Yeah,
You know?
let that one go.
Yeah.
I would think just getting all the equipment there would be a feat within itself.
There was a time before COVID where I was doing a lot of sound, you know, at like the fairgrounds and things like that. And I was thinking about getting like a 14-foot truck with a lift and, you know, contracting out somebody with the PA and things like that. And I was like, you know, I don't think I want to be a sound man with all those headaches. And, you know, and people have asked me to run sound before, and I still don't think I'm all that great at it, but I can get through it and, you know, do basic stuff. But, you know, when I bring my guitar and my gig band, well, yip-da-dip-da-doo, and if I'm just like doing sound like, like moving the stuff, you know.
Yeah, doing that on a bigger scale is, man, you need a whole team.
Yeah, like Boomer brought like 2 more people last time, and he like, I think he borrowed like a couple of my mains and like 1 sub, but I think he brought like, I think there were like 4 mains and 5 monitors. They're all like QSC 2,000 watt powered speakers, and their subs were huge. And they had like looked like the SS Enterprise on the side of the stage with
it's a lot of money worth of gear.
Yeah. So I was really like crazy grateful that like people can, you know, help me out and everything else. And then one of my besties, Michael Coker, ran my Priddy Music Academy stage for me, and I was able to run around and make sure everything was going on time, and get some video, and, you know, talk to people, and run in the inside and catch my students too for the solo acoustic.
Having help, I mean, if you're running the whole thing, having help allows you to do stuff like that.
Yeah, that one, I'm probably already getting ready for next year, but I booked all the bands for that, you know. So that was a lot of fun, and I made a lot of friends that way, and you know, just everybody, you know, coming together. But yeah, I think there's like 2 or 3. I don't know. There's always a charity too. There's some even in like October and things like that. So I haven't looked at the schedule too much, but I know we got one thing going on for another cancer benefit.
That's awesome that you're doing a lot of that fundraiser stuff, man. I mean, that's a huge deal. You know?
Yeah, there's I would probably say, I think they said Burgers and Bands has donated 200,000 so far, and I've been with them for like 10 years. Actually, we kind of started it with one of my student parents, where she came to me and said she needed like 10 bands for that, and it was like 3 weeks. So it was just maybe like 4 or 5 of my academy bands. I put my trio up, and John Van Dyke Band, and some friends that he had from Divide and Conga, I think like Hall Williams. And it was a successful event, and we just kept doing it, and it just kind of grew. And then I had so many bands that I wanted to present, so I thought of the 20-minute set time, 40-minute main, and then that way, while everyone's changing, the pedal boards and drum set parts and everything, and then quick line check, and then they start their set, and the other.
That's a lot of coordination.
And it ran on time last night for the first time. That's awesome. Yeah, it was pretty crazy, and it was like one of the bigger crowds that we had too. So it was a good event. And then I think the acoustic side, I used to book for that, but that one they were doing 20-minute sets. So that's pretty. It's probably like 4 or 5 songs, depending on how quickly you can get on and off the stage. So it was it's kind of become a Severna Park tradition.
Yeah.
So it's pretty neat to see everybody rally. But there's another guy that helped. I guess like they've done 200,000 in 2 years. So that's going to be in June 13th, the Catherine's Light Foundation at Severna Park Tap House.
Of this year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I actually, it's been 2 years as I think as this entity, but I helped them maybe 3 years before that too. And there's like some Nashville musicians that he had come over and things like that. And that was kind of unnerving, as far as like, working with, pros and things like that.
Yeah.
And I went to from my music school, and the feedback everyone, and I learned a lot more now. So I think I can handle it better. But yeah, and I think through the years too. I mean, I think when I first did it, it was like 2008. We were like at Cheeseburger in Paradise, this little place in Pasadena, and they had this small stage, and I was like, well, I rented places out, and 100 people came, and maybe they'll let my students play here, and they'd be willing to eat here, And I was like, well, I can just set the mixer there and leave it all night. No. So that's how I learned, even though I worked with a traveling sound man for 2 years, but I didn't really observe other than like miking my own amp and getting ready, going through monitor check.
It goes back to what we were talking about earlier, like learning from experience, right?
Yeah. So, there's and a lot of people want to learn that,
That's the whole sound thing is a whole nother world of music production and performing.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. I enjoy performing music, but I also really enjoy all the technical end of running sound.
Yeah,
it's very interesting. Just like
I just don't like mixing from the stage though.
That sucks
so,
because you have no idea what it sounds like.
I'm starting to get like the amount of volume from the voice and percentage from my guitar and kick and bass or whatever. Like I'll keep like the mains like to the right of me, and then sometimes I'll keep it behind me. If I can, if there's room, and then just kind of point the monitor that way so it doesn't feedback. And then Mac and Andrew have a taste of that, or they have that, and I'm getting a little taste, and then I'm getting from the mains.
Getting some idea of what it sounds
like. If I can do it without feeding back, which I found a way around, and it was like, actually like my I was like proud of myself because I was kind of freaking out on Saturday because like the windscreen was off of the condenser mic for the drums, and and I was like, turn the gain up, turn it down, can't hear the drums. Like, oh, what? And then I was like, oh, and I high pass filtered it.
Oh, nice.
And it was gone.
That helped.
Yeah. Might have lost a little bit of my floor tom, but it was a happy
Worth the
medium.
trade, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you said it was overheads, right? So that low end probably didn't hurt you too. Missing that low end probably didn't hurt you too much.
I only had the kick, but it was inside the kick drum, and it's probably close, and probably did that too. So
Yeah.
So are most of the opportunities for your school bands, are they mostly these charity events, or are they playing like restaurants and bars too?
Oh yeah, yeah. So
and are they doing like shows by themselves, or is it always like a bunch of your bands come and play?
So I would say festival seasons when I do a little bit less of the showcases. So the showcase would be like the restaurants and things like that. I try to keep it free for everybody. As far as like even when we go to Cold Classic, I make it so the parents don't have to pay.
Yeah.
So I know there's some other ticket things and things like that, and hopefully they're supporting the venue. So I always message them like support the venue. Make sure that you eat a lot, and order plenty and bring friends, and it's free. It's all ages. And it kind of helps, because that's a rough industry too, like restaurants and everything. So I try to get and for the most part, I always get asked back. Someone, can you come every month? Because they'll be there. Because the bands, I kind of calculated, how many bands and how many we should expect, for that 4 hour to kind of help the staff and things like that too. So I have no idea with restaurateur parts, but and then I would say I do that. Try to do it every 4 to 6 times a week, a month, and then
like give each band.
Oh yeah,
4 to 6.
Yeah, 4 to 6. So I try to make sure that I offer that.
Okay.
And then some might have 2 people missing. That's the other thing too. It's like a mini musical community. They fill in musicians just like Annapolis or whatever.
Cool.
So, and then there's a lot more camaraderie when we have like our battle of the bands and things like that. Like everyone's cheering each other on, and the vibe. For the most part, the difference is to, I think, there's quality music, and then the parents stick around and order more, and the staffs are always commenting on how nice everybody is, and so sometimes I'll do some things for Downtown Annapolis Partnership, so it's always good, just to get them out, and I try to explore different venues too, so the things I look for, like good food and a space for them, and parking.
Yeah,
there's that too.
We in downtown,
and how the staff is, and sometimes I'll scope it out, and me and my wife will eat there or whatever, and sometimes it'll be, we had a gig here with Honey Soul, that's cool, let's try that, but the thing is, we don't do a whole lot for the demographic sometimes, like as far as like we'll play like an hour and a half away or whatever, so that's but for the experience, some people will go, if it's like a kind of like a bigger show or things like that, so we'll do some things in Baltimore too, occasionally, but it's a little daunting with like the parking and trying to make sure that you're set up. I think we did like one time we did the Women's March, probably about 3-4 years ago. It was while Union Jacks was still open, so maybe it was like, no, that was like 7 years ago. It was like 2019-ish. And I think there was like close to 10,000 people there, and they had the stage rented. the mayor's stage so they could do a speech, but no one thought about production.
Wow.
And they didn't have a PA, and somebody knew me, and she called me, and I was at Uni Jackson, so I remember it, and she's like, "We're doing this tomorrow. Can you run sound?" And I was like, "Well, if you let me put up 2 female fronted bands, it's a women's march."
Yeah.
So they performed in front of like 10,000 people, and
That's cool.
it was a little bit. It's a PA that was before the one that I have now, so it was like, you know. But everybody could hear it, and I like coupled the 2 subs together and had them on the ground and put the mains up as high as I could, and the stage took a long time to put together for the guys to, unfold it or whatever. And it was neat. I was like, I gotta get one of these. It's like one of the first times I'd seen them, and they were just kind of like moving slow, and then we got it all set up. But driving through the city with all that traffic in that huge white van, it's almost like a bus, and trying to find parking afterwards too, and it was. But you look at the end result, and it was a good experience. So
it's really cool.
Yeah. How are we doing on time, Joe?
I think we're probably getting right there to the end.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So where can people find Priddy Music Academy online?
Oh, PriddyMusicAcademy.com, of course. So it's PRIDDY as in pretty.
Cool.
And
And Honey Soul with the SOL, not SOUL.
Yes.
Okay. 1 word, 2 words?
2 words.
2 words. Okay, cool.
You got Facebook, Instagram, all those social medias.
Yep, for both of them, yes.
Cool. Are you going to allow Mike to come back to your academy?
Maybe to teach.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. Yeah, that could be a
If you
thing.
can make it over there.
Yeah, it's kind of a hike.
Yeah. Bridge, yeah.
That's the maybe part.
Man.
That's on him.
Yeah.
The traffic is already starting to get a little wonky.
I'm always just so torn between gigging and teaching. I feel like I'm just
Yeah.
The balance
You know.
is crucial.
Yeah.
Because I have none. I just do too much. But
yeah.
A lot of musicians end up doing that, right? Like,
Yeah,
you
you
wear
wear-
time between teaching and gigging.
yeah, you just have to work. You wear many hats, and but the ultimate thing is you're eating, So
Yep.
Yeah,
that's
you
the
got to
main
eat.
thing. And
Kids don't really need to eat, but the
I mean, I would imagine, I would imagine you're doing, just listening to you describe your business, I would imagine you're doing fairly well. I mean, I don't expect you to tell us any numbers or anything, but, it was, it's impressive, man, listening to what you're doing over there.
Yeah.
I really had no idea,
yeah, thank you.
I hadn't looked into your school
Yeah, I
or
mean,
anything, or checked out your website or anything.
We could always grow more, but
Yeah.
I'm happy for what we've achieved, and just trying to make sure that we stand out, musically, and stay involved with the community, and keep the students and parents and then adult students as well, happy, and I think for the most part we've done that. I get frustrated sometimes. I think like someone put on Facebook, like gave us like a 0 review, and they're like from like Guatemala or something. So there's like 2 of them. So like it's like,
Well, you know what?
0.2. So show us some love.
I've always heard that with like Google reviews and online reviews like that, it is actually, especially if you have, a bunch of reviews, I guess it would be different if you only had like 10, but it's good to have a couple negative or 1-star reviews, so that it looks more realistic. Like you're not just all 5-star, we have 5,000 5-star reviews and 0 1-stars. People aren't going to believe that. So
That's true.
Yeah. Anyway, Lee, thanks so much, man.
Thank you.
It's been awesome having you on here.
Thank you.
Really interesting stuff. And we wave goodbye. It's time to go. See you guys later.